Okay, we're here today with Ahmed Johnson. Hello, Ahmed. How are you?
How you doing, brother?
We're going to start off with if you could tell us where you grew up, a little bit of your home life.
Well, I grew up in Indiana, Kokomo, and between that and Florida, back and forth, between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And home life wasn't the best. I mean, I don't know if you guys read the article, before, but I mean, home life was very abusive, very abusive father. And it was also, it really was a living hell, is what it was.
And where was this? What part of the country?
Both.
Oh, you were from
In
when you were
Indiana
moving?
and in Florida, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brothers and sisters, or?
Oh, yeah. I got 8 brothers and sisters, or had 8 brothers and sisters, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you know, I joined the Bloods, at age 13, and went on from there. Joined the military, played football, and WWF.
Can you tell us a little bit about the military you joined?
Yeah, I was, matter of fact, that's one of my highlight moments of my life. I graduated most of the student undergraduate out of 2,000 soldiers, which is #1, top of the class. And it was a bittersweet moment at the time because I graduated most of the student undergraduate, and here these other guys are going to get their awards, and they have family there. And here I am at the end of the ceremony. I didn't even know I was mostly student undergraduate. But in the ceremony, the general gets up and they announce the most student undergraduate, and it was me. I graded top of my class in academics and the PT and navigations and everything.
Mm-hmm. What sports did you play in your younger years?
Oh, my God, it wasn't a sport I didn't play. High school track, football, basketball, wrestling team, and weightlifting team.
Mm-hmm. Were you a wrestling fan growing up, or?
Yeah, I was. I forgot the name of the federation. All I know is Dick the Bruiser and Crusher and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was a kid. And then I got when I moved to Houston, got tied in with Mid-South. Mm-hmm. And people don't know, we used to ice sweep the floors at Mid-South Coliseum as a kid. I was the one sweeping the floors after the matches.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What year was that around?
Oh, my God. I would say middle, I want to say 80s. Mm-hmm. Around the middle 80s, 90s, something around there.
What guys were you a big fan of back then?
I was a big fan of Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. Mm-hmm. I thought he was the best. I don't know why. I loved his attitude. Him and Rick Steiner at the time.
Yeah, I guess it's around 86.
Yeah, they were tag team partners. I used to love Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What made you decide to get into wrestling? How'd that happen?
Well, actually, me, Stevie Ray, and Booker T all did it together. Mm-hmm. We all went to a school in Houston. Ivan Putski was teaching, him and Joe Blanchard. And we all got involved. We all went at the same time and decided to join. And we all joined at the same time, me, Stevie, and Booker.
Was it, Scott Casey was the trainer?
Scott was there, yeah. Scott Casey was one of the guys there that was training.
How was training? How did you take to it?
Oh, it was brutal. Ivan, it was brutal. He worked us big time. On all the sports I ever did, including pro football, that was the most intense as far as workouts go.
Mm-hmm. And I guess this was around early 90s?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And did you start working at indies around then? What year was your first match?
I don't remember what year it was, but yeah, we started doing a little indie show. Ivan Putski started running little indie shows. Matter of fact, he went back into the Coliseum in Houston, try to redo Mid-South, but it didn't work out. Mm-hmm. Somebody between him and the staff, somebody was taking the money. So,
what were some of your gimmicks or characters' name back then?
Nightbreeder, Modib. Man, on the internet, the Black Superman. I don't know where that came from, but it was Nightbreeder, Modib. Those were basically the two that I used earlier in my earlier career.
And I guess your first break as far as on getting out there on more of a national scale, I guess, was Global. That was when you first were there. That was shown around the world.
Yeah, I would say Global, and the time I spent in Japan.
How'd you get into Global? How'd that?
They had got a tape. Stevie sent them a tape of us, and they just called. They called me, and I sent him a tape from Japan and sent it to Stevie and them, and they wanted me to come down here and work, so I came back to the States and worked.
What was your character there?
Modib.
What is that exact? What was the character?
The Nubian Terror. And Skenar Akbar was my manager. You know, so that was that. The global.
How long were you there for?
Oh man, I would say about 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And who were some of the guys you work with?
The Freebirds, Michael Hayes, Bam Bam, Chris Adams, Bradshaw. We had a real good match. Who else? Quite a few people. I can't remember everybody. Iceman, King Parsons. I don't know if you know Action Jackson.
Yep.
Although
You were a heel, I guess.
I was kind of like I was WWF. My appearance was a heel, but the fans liked me for some reason. I mean, I came out as a heel, yeah, but the fans, they wouldn't accept me as a heel. You know, they didn't accept it. I don't know why.
Who'd you like working with the most down there? Who do you feel
Down there?
Yeah, who you learned the most from?
I would say Murdoch, Dick Murdoch. One of them I learned a lot from Dick Murdoch. And when Paul Warendorf came through. And Johnny Valentine, the old Johnny Valentine taught me a little bit.
Did you have any heat with anybody down there, or was that some of the better years?
No, I didn't have any. I'm kind of like with WWF. I'm just kept, I was just quiet and kind of keeping myself. I don't get involved in all that crazy business going on.
How did you? What contact did you have with the WWE that got you there?
Michael Hayes actually got me in WWE. I wrestled against Michael Hayes. Well, what happened was I was walking to the ring, and some guy came out. Well, I thought somebody hit me in my back, and I thought it was one of the boys playing a ha-ha. And I turned around, and it was some biker, some tattooed up biker, and I turned around and just laid one on him. I mean, you could hear his jaw crack from all the way. And it's so funny because he just went straight back and his hat flew one way. And I turned around and go back to the ring, and Michael Hayes and Bam Bam was on their knees laughing. He just got his face cracked. And we had a real good match, me, Michael, and Bam Bam. And it was from there. And Michael told me, man, I'm going to get you in WWF because I'm going up there. I'll get you in there. And he did it, kept his word.
And that was 1996. 5, right? I think. Yeah.
5 or 6, I want to say.
And so, what were your first impressions when you went there? Who'd you meet with?
When I went there, Bill Watts was up there. And
was in WWE?
Bill Watts was up there when I got up there. And he was, like, I guess, helping Vince run things. And I was very impressed when I got there. Extremely impressed.
They seemed to push you right from the start. Like, what did Vince talk to you about? You know, that they were going to push you this hard right off the bat?
Well, he said that he'd seen the tape, and he doesn't, look at all the tape, but he sees Atomic Mind, and he was very impressed with the intensity. He said he's never seen intensity like I had. And, then they gave me a push, and I did a few dark matches for him. And, I mean, people didn't know who I was, and they was going crazy. I thought I was doing my moves, and, I used to, like, dive over the top rope and do all that, the little man stuff, for a 330-pound guy doing it. They thought it was pretty impressive.
And what did they say the Ahmed Johnson character was going to be about? It was just going to be a...
They never gave me an outline at all. They just basically said, you're Ahmed Johnson, and, and with the costume, they suited me for what they thought was, a good costume, and he never really gave me an outline of what the character was about or anything, which I never understood because Ahmed's a Muslim name, and I couldn't figure where they were going with it either. I think that if you remember, they started the Nation, and I think that's where his head was going with because the Nation is a Muslim group, supposedly, and Ahmed would have fitted right in that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where it is. I'm not sure, but I think that's where they were headed. But then he found out I was better as an individual, so with a group.
And as a face at that point, to push you to that. What were you promised? Were you promised anything from the beginning, or were you?
I don't, no, not really. And everything I was promised, he delivered on. I must be honest. Everything I was promised from Vince McMahon, he delivered on everything he promised me.
Who were some of the first guys you worked with?
Against or just with?
Against.
My first match on television was against Yokozuna when I slammed Yoko. That was the first one. Yoko, Me and Sean was doing stuff together. Worked in Sav Yoga. Just about everybody that was healed right in the beginning.
What were your thoughts on Yokozuna?
We didn't get along at first. It was a lot of jealousy in the locker room at first because the way they brought me in, with the push, and then I did deliver, and Yoko was one of them that was, I guess, intimidated or jealous. And we almost came to blows. I guess he thought I was going to be intimidated by him. One time we had a tag team match. It was me and Yoko against David and Owen. And David and Owen is just ha-ha, especially if it's not TV. They're going to play jokes the whole match. And I guess we got back in the locker room and Yoko started cussing and going off about, us doing ha-has in the match. And I got up and walked up to him and I basically got right in his face. And I was like, man, look, if you got a problem with me, you want to get it on, let's get it on right now in the locker room. And he didn't want to fight. And we settled up from there and then we became real good friends from that point.
Okay. I guess you were the second guy that they had. I guess that was the way to give you the big push right off the bat by body slamming Yokozuna.
Yeah.
And I think Luger did it before you, right? And at that time they must have said to you, like, we're going to push you right off the bat to the top or towards the top. And body slamming Yokozuna was big, I guess.
Right. I didn't realize how big it was, though. I mean, I didn't realize how big it was till it was done. But no, they never came to me about a push. It was just, I'm just going with the flow.
And how was it working with Owen Hart?
Oh my God, man! That Owen Hart kept morale up. I mean, Owen Hart is the best, man. I swear to God, I used to love to come to work just because Owen was going to be there, and he was going to be doing something crazy. Like when I first got there, I would say my fourth dark match, I'm sitting in the ring and I'm getting off with this guy. We're having a hell of a match. Fans are screaming and I'm doing the stuff over the top rope from the third rope and all kind of stuff. And my music came on halfway during the match. And I was like, I didn't know. I said, they're telling me to take it home because they don't like the match or something. So I told the guy, I'm going to shoot you in clothesline and give you the Pearl River and opinion. So I did. And we got out the ring and walked back to the curtain. Mike Rotano was the agent at the time. Boy, he was red. He was cussing and going on. Who in that? Turn that effing music on. Who turned it? He was on. And then look at them booth. Who's coming out the sound booth? Owen and Davey. And then Mike Rotano was like, I'm calling Vince right now. You just effed up a good match. I'm calling Vince. And then they started blaming each other. Owen, I didn't do it. Davey did it. And Davey, I didn't do it. Owen, you did it. And it was just back and forth. It was funny, man. But that's just their character. That was just their character. And then he put another good ha-ha on me. My first WrestleMania. Everybody, the fan hype is good, and everybody going on talk shows and doing things. I'm in my room with my brother and them, and the phone rings, and it's David Leno show. So I'm talking to them and giving them the information they need, and I was going to be on the next day. So I went out and I spent about $4,000 on a suit and some shoes and some chain, a nice chain. A nice chain and everything, and I get dressed up, and I mean. 4,000. I'm decked out. I'm pimped up from head to toe. So then I go outside. The limo's supposed to be there at 8 o'clock. So I go outside waiting for the limo. Then Owen Davey comes out, and I go out so dressed up, and I tell them, I had Jay Leno's show, and they got pissed off. They were like, man, we've been here for some years, and you got Jay Leno's show, and we haven't even did a talk show yet or anything. And I'm like, well, that's just the way the ball bounces sometimes. So I'm sitting out there, man, with my new clothes, my new watch, my new jewelry. And 8 o'clock hits, no limo. And then Owen looks at me and says, ain't your limo up here at 8 o'clock? And so I was like, yeah. Then I thought, how in the hell did you know my limo was coming at 8 o'clock? What it was Owen and them who called me and told me they were Jay Leno. And I was dressed up for nothing. I was dressed up when I was having nothing. Him and Davey hit the floor, man, laughing. Then Brett came out. He hit fell in the bushes. He laughed so hard. But they got me good, man.
That's good. You have another Owen story? Anything that's
man, you can be Owen stories all day what Owen did. I mean, Owen was...
Give us another real good one.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember when we did the arm wrestling competition, me and a Bulldog. And I had to meet what was going to be my wife's parents that night in Chicago at the stadium. And so I knew that something was up. I said, these two together coming against me, they got something planned. I know they got something planned. And so they get to the ring, we're finna do the arm wrestle, and Davey and them, they took a stink bomb and smashed it in his hand. So it smells like dog shit coming all the way up to the ring. And then we lock up our hand, and then, I mean, it's the stinkiest smell you ever smell. It's like pure dog doo-doo. And so I'm like, oh my God, and it's live TV, so I can't pull out from the arm wrestle contest. And they just laughing their ass off. And then had to go be soon to be, what's going to be my wife's parents. And I mean, I smell like pure dog shit. And the first time meeting them, I was like, I don't know what they're going to say about me now. But that's, I mean, Owen and Davey, man, they just, oh my God. They go in your room, they've got a key to your hotel room, okay, from the front desk, and they would go in there and shit in your toilet and leave it. And you come home and cut the heater on. And when you come in the room, your room is just stinking to high hell. And that's just, but like Brett said, Brett told me one day, he said, look, man, he said, Owen doesn't rib people he don't like. He said, he's ribbing you because he really likes you. And he was just a good dude, man. I mean, I know people say that about all the time. Yeah, they said Jeffrey Dahmer was a good dude, you know. But Owen Hart was really genuine.
Mm-hmm. How did you take it when you heard that he passed away?
I was devastated. Mm-hmm. Devastated. I couldn't believe it. I mean, God for me saying this, but everybody could have passed away and I wouldn't have cared. The one that I really cared about, that killed me. That killed me.
Do you think they should have went on with the pay-per-view that night, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I mean, if I was running the show, no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have.
Because of how close you were.
Yeah. Right, I wouldn't have. Even if I wasn't close to him and I was running the show, I wouldn't have went on with it. I mean, I think the fans would have understood. But I mean, but you got to understand Vince didn't get where he was by being normal. I mean, he's always pushed the envelope, and that's what makes, the show so good.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are some, how did you feel also about Bulldog, I guess, when...
Yeah, I was sad about Bulldog, too, and I really sad about the way he went out, I mean, we all knew that, a lot of boys have drug problems, and then Bulldog, I mean, take it that extreme. I didn't know he was that bad off. But yeah, that hurt.
All right. I guess going into the angle where you won the Intercontinental belt from Goldust. I guess take us through that angle that kind of got you to the match. I know it was I think on TV. He ended up giving you mouth to mouth.
Yeah, and that wasn't. When you seen him covering up after he came mouth to mouth, I was punching through the ropes trying to hit him, and he was covering up. That was real, because I told him, we practiced it, we rehearsed it, and I told him to take his hand and put over my mouth like this. The fans can't see it. Just put your hand over my mouth and do your hand, put my mouth to your hand. And of course, when live TV hit, he thought it was going to be funny to put his lips on my lips, and I didn't think that was very funny. So the last few moments when you see him not fighting back, there's a reason for that.
Did you get along with Dustin?
Yeah, we got along, fine up until, I mean, just that moment. I didn't appreciate that moment,
Yeah. And then you went into the match and you became the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, first African American. How'd
you feel about that?
It was great, man. Especially the way that it was in Milwaukee, and especially the way that the fans responded, everybody responded. It was great, But I had no idea the extent of being the first African American champion. I didn't. I underestimated it. I underestimated it.
How'd you feel the match went?
It was okay. It was pretty good. I think I was a little intense. I think I was, diving over the top rope and on top of them. And Marlena didn't know what was going on, his wife. And was that her name, Marlena?
Well, that's her character name. It's Terry.
Well, she didn't realize what was going on. She really thought I was pissed and trying to hurt him for real. When I threw the stairs and stuff, she freaked out. She was seriously pissed about it. He had to actually tell her, get back. I mean, she was walking up, almost like she was going to try to stop the match or something. She was really pissed. But we had, talked it over, and we did everything we said we were going to do.
You said Owen and Bulldog you were tight with at that time. Some of the other guys you were really good friends with at that point?
Rikishi, Taker, Sid, Farouk. After a while, we wasn't that tight at first. That's just about all the people I really Vader. That's about all I associated with.
So after you won the Intercontinental belt, you would there was a story that I think you told me that Steve Austin, you feel that he did something that you think he did to you after you won the IC belt. If you want to tell that story.
Oh well, somebody wrote on my rent-a-car.
This was after you won the belt, right after.
Yeah, this was like the next few matches after I won the belt. Somebody wrote on my rent-a-car, "Congratulations, nigger," and I don't know who did it. And a fan said that they saw Stone Cold out there by my car. So I don't know if he did it or not. But, I mean, after what I read about him and seen him in that longest yard, I would probably say, yeah, much that he's the one who did it.
How was your relationship to him before? And
Who, Steve Austin?
Yeah.
I've always felt he was a little racist or prejudiced. I didn't associate with him. Wasn't a friend of mine.
Is it just backstage you heard him talking to other people, or is it just a vibe you got from a guy?
No, if I heard him say the N word backstage, I ought to beat his fucking ass. No, he didn't say that shit around me. But no, just a vibe. Just, you know, vibe. Then I read that stuff that his wife talked about, you know, him using the N word all the time and not wanting her to watch black people on TV and all that crap. You know, so that pretty much settled it for me.
If you found proof that he did it, I guess you would have confronted him at that point?
I would have killed him. I would have beat him senseless. I would have beat him senseless.
All right. What other kinds of things did you run into as far as people being jealous of your quick rise? I mean, do you think it was also racism that Austin did that, and also maybe a lot of, at that point, he wasn't. He was kind of starting to get his rise. That maybe he felt, you know, why are you getting it right off the bat?
No, a racist is a racist, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't just become that overnight. That's something. If you're a racist from day one. And so no, he's just a racist. That's just the way it is. And you know, and it's sad because you know you get all these I see these little black kids with Austin 316 T-shirts on, and they're supporting him, not knowing who this punk really is. So no.
Anybody else kind of were jealous of your rise?
No, Shawn Michaels one time came in and before he became Shawn Michaels now, I respect who he is now. I mean, I'm really glad that he's found the Lord and he is the Christian he is. But I mean, when I first got there, when he wasn't a Christian, he called me in the office one time, which I never understood. And he said, he said, I got to ask you to stop doing all the high-flying moves, you know, down on the top rope and jumping off the rope. And I was like, why? He said, well, you're, you know, a big man, you're 330 pounds. He said, when you do it, and then I go out there and do it, it's not as important anymore because you just did it 330 pounds. He said, so you got to do more big man moves. And, you know, when he told me that, I mean, I didn't know if that was his part of the business, if he was, you know, jealous or what the deal was. But I backed off a little bit and stopped doing a lot of the high-flying stuff I was doing, which I was very disappointed about because I feel that made me fall off a little bit because I love diving over the ropes and doing crazy stuff. And I backed off because he asked me to. And at the time, he was the man of the WWF.
Yeah. That was pretty much it. Other than that, as far as
besides that, I can't really think of anybody I had any problems with. Not that I know of.
What was the whole story about your feud with Farouk and where at one point, I guess in a match, he kicked you?
Yeah, now that I think that was done on purpose because I mean.
Well, I'll just interrupt you for a second. We saw around Simmons at a convention about a year and a half ago. Someone brought up that question to him in a Q&A, and he said that you were stiff, and it was a receipt for you to start to calm down.
I never wrestled him until that. That was the first time we ever met each other. So I didn't understand. I couldn't get that. I mean, that's the first time we ever met each other. I think that was more of the fact that he was jealous. Because he was the first black, I guess, WCW champion or something. And I was the first black in WWF. And I think he thought that was kind of disrespectful. I had been there a matter of a year, and he had put in numerous of years, before he became a champion. And I had been there 1 year and became, a champion. And I think he didn't like that. I think that was a little disrespectful because when I first met him backstage, I mean, I'm real quiet and keep to myself, so I didn't really speak to him when I first met him. And that was the night he was supposed to do the run out on me. And I think he thought that was a little disrespectful. But that's why I paid him back. And that match with me and the Road Warriors had against them, I sent him to the hospital then. That's why I paid him back. He got a receipt for it.
Before we get to that, what take us back to that match with when you got injured at that point.
Well, I didn't know what was going on. Just, we had, me and Shawn Michaels was tag teaming against the Smoking Guns. And Farouk, when I went out the rope, Farouk was supposed to come out and, and take over on me and beat me down. And he ran out there in that first kick, right in my kidney. It felt like a shotgun hit. And I was like, well, I'll be damned. And talking working stiff, Farouk is one of the stiffest guys in the business, brother. But I like that. I like working against guys who are stiff, and he just kicked me in the kidney, and that was, basically it. I went to the hospital.
You knew you were hurt bad right then? Or?
No, I didn't. Yeah. It hurt like hell, but I didn't know it was, that bad. Vader's the one who, I was rooming with Vader at the time. We were sharing a room together, and while I was asleep, Vader said I was breathing funny, and he got up and called the ambulance, and they found out that he messed my kidney up a little bit.
And that kept you out for how long at that point?
I think about a month or so.
And you said you felt it was on purpose at that time?
Yeah, I feel it was a joke.
He actually even said it, that it was kind of on purpose. It was a receipt, but I guess so.
I wish he'd have told me that.
Yeah.
I wish he'd told me. I never heard that before. I wish he'd told me that. But yeah, I guess I just feel it wasn't a receipt. How could it be a receipt? I never wrestled him before.
Yeah, maybe from what he heard from other guys who wrestled you to not do it in his matches, or that's the only thing.
His matches were always stiff.
Yeah,
but it was. We were stiff with respect. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I got to the point where I sent him back to the hospital, and
yeah, tell us that story. How
and that was a receipt. I did that on purpose. Yeah, that was a receipt because he had, hurt me, and I believe in returning my receipts.
What match was this again?
It was one. I don't remember what it was, but it was me and the Road Warriors against the Nation, basically. And it was it was a street fight, and I gave him a spine buster and drove my head in his ribs and broke a couple of his ribs.
Was this on a pay-per-view? It was a 6-man. It was. I think,
yeah. It was 6. Well, Nation always count more than 6 men, but it was supposed to be a 6-man.
And Savio Vega and I think Brian Adams.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, there was another thing that went on. Another wrestler brought up in another shoot interview, so that pertains to that match. So we'll bring it up now. During a shoot interview with the Road Warriors several years ago, Animal, when brought up your name, didn't have many nice things to say. Basically said that some story about when you guys all came out with the spikes or whatever, there was something to the effect that he called you a thief and said that you stole the spikes or something like that. As far as I don't know what you plan on doing with them, if that's what even happened, but something about that around that with the spikes and
right. First of all, I've never been a fan of any man. Not professional wrestling, not professional football or whatever. How much money that I was making, I had to steal a shoulder pad with spikes. I don't get that. But as far as Adam goes, I didn't know Adam we had heat together. But if we do, fuck him. And he'll tell him, like I said, and anytime he wants to fucking meet, we can, in the ring or out the ring. But I didn't know we had any heat, with that. But Hawk gave me the shoulder pads, and when I went to return them, he told me to keep them. He gave me a shoulder pads. He gave me a New Japan jacket, and because me and Hawk was real tight. Matter of fact, even after WWF, we still did some shows together as tag team, me and him, in Detroit with I forgot the name of the organization in Detroit that was running at the time. We did it in Florida. We did a show in Texas as tag team, and we tag team all the way through. As a matter of fact, his shoulder pads are in Dallas, Texas right now, by the reportorium in the big glass case display.
That's the ones you wore? Or
Yeah, the ones I wore.
Okay.
Because when he died, I gave him his shoulder pads to them because they got like this Hall of Fame thing where they got like a glove, you know, from whatever, and trunks from certain wrestler boots when they passed away. So I gave his shoulder pads to them to put in the glass case.
So maybe to clear this up a little, I guess Hawk gave you.
Yeah, Hawk gave me shoulder pads.
It was his shoulder pads to give you.
Right. We got done with the match, I took the shoulder pads back to Hawk, and he's like, "No, brother, you keep them. Sure." And I thought that was really cool. And he got sitting and gave me a jacket, a New Japan jacket. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what those bloated ass animals talking about.
Yeah.
You know, but if he got a problem with it, he know how to contact me if he got something to say. Don't be a little bitch and say it on the video. Mm-hmm. You got something to say to me, come to me and say it, or call me, I'll meet you. Punk ass.
Okay, I guess we'll continue with the LOD at that point. Teaming with them, how did you feel? Because you were kind of at that time.
Well, now I'm pissed off, but before that, it was an honor.
Yeah,
it was an honor to team with Animal Hawk. You know, and I'm just right now I'm stewing, man. But I start sweating real bad in a minute because I get pissed off. I start sweating, and I mean, by the time it was an honor to tag up with them, man. I mean, I thought that was history for me, you know. That's part of the greatest thing I can talk about in my life.
It could have been jealousy again. I mean, to some point.
I think
the Road Warriors were kind of getting to the end of their career. I mean, it was coming slowly to the end, and they saw someone who resembled them tremendously.
Right.
And maybe that was another form of it that came out. You know?
It could have been. I didn't know we had any heat. I had no idea that he had talked about me like that. I always liked Animal and Hawk. I mean, especially Hawk. I mean, but because Hawk is the type of person, he can carry you regardless. He don't even have to get in the ring. Just his, his little what a rush and all that stuff. You say,
yeah.
People loved him, man. I mean, he was wild. He walked it like he talked it. He was a wild dude, man. And Animal was you remind me of me a little bit. He kind of laid back and quiet like I was, and kept himself real cool. I mean, I don't know why he would say some bullshit like that.
I guess also teaming with Yokozuna at that point. You were teaming with him a little bit when he turned face. Mm-hmm. How was that at that point? You became friends, I guess, at that point. Yeah,
after we got done with our little confrontation. Just how in life, man, once you get things off your chest with somebody, you usually become the best of friends. And that's how it became with me and Yoko. Mm-hmm. I mean, I got off, he got what he had to sell chest, so I confronted him right there in the locker room in front of Bulldog Orton, and we had understanding after that. Mm-hmm. We had a good understanding after that.
I guess we'll get into now is the reputation that seems to follow you everywhere, and that's something I guess is important to bring up, is the fact that a lot of wrestlers, this is what they've said, that you don't protect people, and that's why your stuff looks so real, is because you had the lack of concern to protect anybody. And that's something, I mean, that's the main thing people talk about, and you might want to set that straight. That's like this. I've had wrestlers tell me, when you walk into the ring, I actually got scared for the first time. They said, because you look so pissed, and your intensity, they say, it's so high. And that's what Vince said about me. It's the fact he's never seen intensity from the time you come out of the curtain to the time you finish a match. He's never seen intensity like that. I mean, Jerry Lawler said it, JR said it, and just, they loved it. It's my intensity, and it's intimidating, and especially as big as I was. I mean, coming to the ring and fully loaded, and with intensity. But that's just the way it was. That's where I was in football. That's where I was. It's a survival mechanism. But a funny part about that is, and let me tell you where the bullshit comes into that play at. First of all, I was in WCW. Not one guy said I was stiff. Not one guy said I hurt. Even Hulk Hogan. I mean, Hogan had some blows he changed during the one of the big pay-per-views they had, a battle royal. And Hogan, I got to the back, Hulk Hogan told me, you know what? He said, you have the best punches in the business. And he said, and the thing is, he said, when you throw them punches, it looks like you're going to kill somebody. He said, but those were the softest hits I've ever had in my life.
He said, you got the softest punches I've ever felt. And I think people let that intensity go to their head. But why is it that in WCW, not one guy ever complained about me being stiff or hurt? Matter of fact, they would compliment about how soft I was. Now, you telling me there's a difference between WCW guys and WWF guys? You telling me WCW guys are tougher or something? Mm-hmm. Then not one person complained. That rumor came about when I left. When I left, you don't leave WWF without them burying you. I mean, think of anybody that ever left that didn't have something bad said about them. And one of the things when I left was the fact that they were saying that I was, hard. My punches, and everything were hard, and I was, like you said,
not protecting.
Yeah, not protecting people. That's not true at all.
Well, what about on the moves too? I mean, let's say not even the punches. Some of the moves you did, like the Pearl River Plunge and stuff like that. I mean, I guess do you know of any time where you hurt somebody that you know?
Not once.
That came up to you and said,
Not once.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, name one person I did Pearl Plunge that went to the hospital. Nobody ever did. Matter of fact, that was it's the most cushion part of the neck. Like when I took you over and I flipped you, I put my knees out to make sure that your back and your shoulders, your shoulders hit my knees before it hit the mat to break your fall. Unless I didn't like it, then I'd take you straight through. But usually that's how I did it. I try to protect the guy. And like I said, it still goes back to the fact: why WCW guys never complain? Not one ever complained about me being stiff or me hurting them or being hard. But WWF guys did complain. It was more of a jealousy thing. I'm telling you, being the first African American champion and being as big as I was, a lot of jealousy came with that, man. A shitload of jealousy. And it's just the fact, like I said, if I hurt WWF, then I was going to hurt WCW guys, you know what I'm saying? Because in WCW, I wasn't even in shape. I was 410 pounds. And I was out of shape. And my punches were off, my kicks were off in WCW. So, and not one guy complained because I'd never stiffed anybody in WCW.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I gave receipts. If you hit me, I was going to hit you back. And that was just the nature of the business.
Yeah. I guess also, I guess you felt also at the time in the WWF, how were the clicks back then during the, I mean, that happens a lot where I guess, maybe the reason this image of you has been out there constantly is because you got 5 or 6 guys who don't like you or another clique who just say it a couple times, and in this business, if it's said 2 or 3 times, it seems to have a life of its own, and it just sticks.
It does, especially if you put it on the internet. It sticks like glue.
Yeah.
And I mean, man, when I got there, everybody had a clique. Cliques were deep, I mean, real deep. But the DX ran the show. That's just the way it was.
What'd you see back then? Did you see, as far as they were saying that Sean had a lot of control over, I guess, a lot of the situations with his character and stuff like that, and used to have, flip out sessions and go home and lost a smile and all that other stuff. What did you see firsthand back then?
Yeah, Sean ran things. Him, Diesel. It was him, Diesel, Razor, and Triple H, and they basically ran the show.
And if they didn't like it,
you were buried.
What guys did you see that happen to? I mean, I heard Bigelow, they didn't like at one point, or
yeah, but like I said, I never really got into their business. I mean, I've always kept to myself, man. That was my thing about me that other wrestlers say they can never say I got involved in any of the bull crap that's going on. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know the Brett situation. I mean, you hear rumors and hear stuff that was going on, and I thought that was kind of shitty. But besides that, I mean, trying to think of anybody else they had heat with. I'm sure they had heat with everybody. I mean, none of the boys liked them. I mean, they act like they liked them. They kissed up their ass because they were running the show at the time. So, I mean, everybody was kissing up to them. But, I mean, I don't think back in the locker room anybody liked them.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said you were injured from the fruit kick. How long were you out?
I don't remember, a month or 2.
Okay.
I believe.
And I guess that didn't really derail your push at that point. It was just...
No, just delayed it.
Delayed it a little bit.
Yeah, I had to get it. Nobody ever beat me for the Intercontinental belt. And that's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
For me, I'm still the Intercontinental champion because nobody ever beat me. But they took it from me because I was injured. Mm-hmm. And put up in the tournament.
I also talk about the which I have so many matches on tape, the Kuwaiti Cup.
Oh, that was fun. That was fun.
Did you?
The Kuwaiti Cup was something else. That was fun. I had my final match was against Triple H, man, and he basically, I mean, called the whole match. He walked me through it. Triple H was a good guy back then. I don't know how he's now, because I haven't been, up there with him for a while. But back then, he was basically a good guy, man. I mean, the whole match, the final match, I mean, he called it and walked me through it, the whole match and everything. He was good.
Mm-hmm. And who else did you take on in that tournament? It was Triple H?
Me and Yoko tagged up against...
well, that was for the tour?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's Al Snow and I forgot who tagged. Marty Jannetty.
Yeah. Okay.
And I took on Owen. Me and Owen had a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And which I was laughing basically the whole match because him and his ha-has, man, they never stop. They never stop. In the ring, out the ring, they never stop.
Mm-hmm.
And just the Kuwait tournament was good. I enjoyed that big time.
So who came up with turning you heel at that point?
I guess it was the office decision.
I mean, that seems like a kind of a weird thing to do when you were so... I mean, you were really on fire.
Yeah, I had my doubts on that
face.
too. It's like somebody was trying to slow down the steam a little bit.
Yeah, turning heel just doesn't seem right for what you were headed towards.
Right.
It seems like you were headed towards Hulk Hogan level. I mean, that's what they were looking to do.
Somebody turned down the steam a little bit, I mean, and like I said, DX was running things at the time, so who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Might have been a decision that they came to, put the brakes on them.
Who told you you were going to be turning heel?
I want to say Jerry Briscoe. Jack Briscoe. One of the Briscoes told me.
And you were fine with it, or you just were like, whatever?
No, I hated it.
Yeah.
And Briscoe hated it. He didn't like it either. But I mean, if it comes from, the boss, what can you do? But do what you're told. No, I didn't want to do that at all, man. That was, I did not want to turn heel. But do what you're told.
What year was that around? 96?
I want to say 97, huh?
97?
Yeah, it's not something. Well, you see how quick it ended. But it lasted a week.
You turned on The Undertaker, right? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it didn't last very long. Vince, I remember we had a match where we all came down. The Nation was me, Farouk, D-Lo, Rock, Mark Henry, and Kama. And I remember Vince called us at the office, and he said, Ahmed, he said, I'm about to take you out the Nation. And you're going to start being Ahmed. And I was like, to myself, I'm saying, you just turned me. I just made all my fans hate me. Now in a week or two, I got to make them like me again? And I thought that was really weird, But then he said, and the reason why is I want you to look at this. And he hit the recorder. And to see us 6 black dudes coming on their ramp, I mean, everybody's like 300 pounds up at D-Lo or bigger. It was intimidating. I mean, once I watched it, I see what he's talking about. He was like, you see this? He said, who am I going to get to believe that anybody can beat y'all?
Well, but Farouk was the leader at that point, right? Of the group? Mm-hmm. So you were going to be just...
No, I was going to take over.
You were going to take over. That was the idea?
Yeah.
And Farouk was going to go down a notch, or just...
Yeah, he can go down a notch. Mm-hmm. And they said, the way the magazine stuff put it, I was trying to get in there to break the Nation up, infiltrate the Nation, like a secret agent or something inside the Nation or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was going to take over leadership because if you know who walked on the ramp, I walked down first. And man, it was scary. I see Vince said that was the most intimidating group I've ever seen in professional wrestling. I mean, you see all this coming down the ramp and all that beef, and it's like, oh no, this can't happen.
And what were your thoughts on the guys in the Nation at that point? Was it the Godfather or Kama?
Kama.
At that point, get along with him?
Yeah, I got okay with Kama.
Mm-hmm. D-Lo too?
Well, me and D-Lo had a little, I had to put him in his place. And then after that, me and Rock got into a little incident in the locker room.
You and The Rock?
Yeah, we got into a little scuffle in the locker room one time.
Could you tell us about that?
Well, he was saying some stuff, and it wasn't about me. Just he was saying stuff that I don't think he should have been saying about anybody. And I came around and confronted him about it.
Would you be able to tell us what he was saying, or?
Well, the thing that was being said was there was an incident. I mean, if I can get it correctly, something about a match he had with somebody, and he didn't want to do their high spots at one point or something like that. And I just got him. I didn't like the fact that he was getting a little cocky. He's getting a little too cocky for me. And we had a match coming up, and matter of fact, the same night, and we was going to the match, and I was willing to do his high spots, but he wasn't willing to do all mine. And so I told him, okay, if you're not going to do mine, you think I'm going to do yours, and you're going to do mine? I ain't doing yours either. And then I got to the point where I said, well, look, when we get in the ring, we can just get it on in the ring. Mm-hmm. We just sell it in the ring. And then we got into a little competition back there. And then Farouk and, what was it, Kama? Yeah, Farouk Kama came and they broke it up.
Was it a fight or was it just argument?
Yeah, it was a few blows thrown.
Really?
Yeah.
You and The Rock?
Yeah, me and The Rock. Well, somebody told me earlier, too, once again, go back to the jealousy thing, somebody told me that he didn't like the fact that he was called Rocky Maivia and I was Ahmed Johnson, which was their last name, his father's last name that he wrestled with. Rocky Johnson.
Which he was here today too, Rocky Johnson.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I heard he didn't appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how true it is. Rumors, just rumors that I was called Ahmed Johnson. I mean, that's not a name I picked. That's the name they gave me.
And you said you got into a little thing with D'Lo? Yeah.
Oh, D'Lo, yeah, I wouldn't have. It was just getting him straight. Mm-hmm. It was nothing. D'Lo's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Okay. I guess right around this period you got injured again? Right around the turning heel?
Against DOA, one of the twins went low on me and my knee you can hear the pop in my knee. He went low on my knee and it snapped backwards. And I mean, it was so loud, even the referee here, it was like, just snapping. He tore the ACL in my knee and meniscus.
And how long, and you were out for a while on that?
Yeah, I was about a month or two on that one too. Rehab a knee, getting it right. But once again, back to Vince keeping his word. That's what I mean. He went above the Call of Duty most of the time because he paid for everything. He didn't have to do that. All my reading, my surgery, my rehab for my knee. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a payoff for him too on that. Get me back in the ring quicker.
Sure.
But.
Also, I mean, during this time because it seemed like you were really a real project to become huge in the promotion. And did Vince ever come to you and say, you had a couple different bad breaks with getting injured and this, that, and the other? I mean, did he ever say, we want to get you on that track to really get there? Or did he have to? I mean, how much influence did he have in trying to mold you to get to that top? That was it his project or was it?
Yeah, it was. No, I was Vince's project, and that's why the push was so good. I mean, I was Vince's project, and even after the injuries, I come back, he was still giving me the push. Mm-hmm. And the instant then when I left, it was something very serious, something I had to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll get to that in 1 minute. I guess, okay, the next thing would be, there was something about where you were quoted as saying, I'm going to say the quote, I don't know, it's probably totally wrong, but something about selling a punch from China, and you said, ain't gonna let no bitch hit me. Or something along those lines.
I don't know where it came from. Set Mankind said that in his book, and I said that I don't remember ever saying I love China. Mm-hmm. China was my girl back. She was. I thought she was great. I thought she was good for the business and everything. And she interfered a few matches with me in Triple H where she hit me with a chair. Now, the Ahmed Johnson character might have said that in character. But as far as something personal, no, I never meant anything personal by that if I said it. Mm-hmm. In character, yeah, that's like something I would say in character. Because, that was just Ahmed Johnson character. I'm not going to let no bitch hit me and all she hit me, I'm going to hit her back. That was my gimmick.
Yeah.
And it's funny how people will take shit that's your gimmick and make it like it's you. Mm-hmm. Off camera, me and China got along very well. Mm-hmm. Very well. So, yeah, I might have said that, but it was...
In character.
the business. You know, that was part of the business.
So you had no problem doing anything. They pretty much wanted you
No,
to
nothing.
do. That's her. Okay. What led to, I guess, your I guess you had a feud around with Jarrett at that point. Was that 90? You started taking on Jarrett, right?
Yeah, well, Jared was when I first got there, and we were.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was in the
Yeah.
first. Well, since we didn't talk about that, how did you like working with Jarrett?
I didn't.
You didn't.
No, didn't like him at all.
You didn't like. Okay. And what was the reason behind that?
Arrogance, extremely arrogant off camera. Thought he was more than what he is, like he is now in TNA. I mean, TA could rock and roll if he understands that he's not The Rock, and he relinquish, some of his control. I mean, TNA can go off real good, but that's just him, brother. You think he's the best thing since sliced cheese, and that's outside of the business. No, I didn't like that boy.
Mm-hmm. Did he? I guess with TNA and everything, did you ever get contacted by TNA? I guess not. Since
No, we never got along.
Yeah, I
probably one of the last person, Jared, because me and Steve Ray had a confrontation against when I went to WCW. What's the guy's? I can't think of the big guy's name.
Somebody friends with Jarrett? You had a company?
Yeah, one of Jared's friends.
The Harris brothers? No.
Awesome. Someone named Awesome.
Mike Awesome?
He's a big guy, right?
Yeah.
No, Mike Awesome, I guess that's who it was. One time we were out of town, me and Steve Ray were out of town, and Booker had a match. And we watched it, and Mike Awesome, did his Awesome Bomb, and almost took Booker through the turnbuckle, which probably would have killed him if his head would hit, And me and Stevie, when we got back to WCW, we pulled him in the restroom and gave him a stern talking to. And Jarrett was sitting out there, and I guess, word got out that we had beat the boy up or something. We didn't touch him. We just talked to him about what he did to Booker, and never know how we didn't appreciate it. If it happens again, then there's be some problems. And Jarrett was sitting out there, and all of a sudden rumors got around that we beat the guy up and some crap like that. And I didn't say anything to him. I just basically went over to Stevie. Stevie was my boy. And if Stevie jumped, then I'm going to jump. And I said, we grew up like that, basically.
So he was just pretty much arrogant from the beginning, and then, but
yeah,
never really kind of.
Yeah, he was arrogant, and the boys. All the boys used to talk about how arrogant he was, and and I always thought, just getting in the business, you don't know how the people really are until you get in the business and meet them. But yeah, he was pretty much out there.
Well, can I just touch on a point with Jarrett? I believe a story, and I hopefully you can clear it up for me, is that there was a match, supposed to be a match between you and Jarrett, and it was probably because of his jealousy or something like that. Somebody said, I heard that you refused to job to him, and that's where it ended up that he wrestled Buddy Landell later that night.
No, I wrestled Buddy Landell.
Oh, it was vice versa.
Jared didn't want to do the job.
Okay.
And yeah, I ended up wrestling Buddy Landell. And no, back up. I wrestled Buddy Landell in Dean Douglas' place. Dean Douglas said he was hurt, with nothing else. But no, I was new to the business. Jared was only there a short time when I first got there. He was only there a few months because they had heat going. Him and Vincent had heat going, and so he wasn't there that long. But no, there's no way I could refuse to wrestle somebody. And here I am, the new guy on the block. Vince, how do you think Vince would have took that? I'm not wrestling against Jared. Please, I'd have been fired in a heartbeat. I was the new kid on the block. I didn't have any pull, any say so about nothing. You just shut your mouth and do what you're told.
I knew your role was somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I remember who didn't want a job.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't. They didn't. It was a lot of jealousy going because when I first got there, I didn't lose. He pushed me, and I got to get pushing. The boys don't like that when you just get into business and all of a sudden you become this superstar. And here they've been for 10 years, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes the fans either take to you or they don't. Like D'Lo Brown, for instance. I'm telling you, D'Lo is one of the best workers in the history of wrestling, but the fans won't take to him. Mark Henry, been there for, 10 years now. And no matter what you do with Mark Henry, the fans just don't take to him. And it's up to the fans. Either they like you or they don't. And that's what I love about New York fans, especially at Masquerade Gardens. New York fans are hot and cold. They're on and off. Either they like you or they don't. I'm not talking about in that heel babyface way. You can't bullshit New York fans. They know who can work. They know who's a tough gimmick. They know who, they can look beyond you, it seems like, and they can tell this guy really a tough guy outside the ring or just as a gimmick. And that's what I love about Masquerade Garden, where the fans, they just electrify you, man. But they are so smart to the business until it's sickening. And some of the guys just couldn't get over. And like I said, D-Lo was one of the guys I never understood why the fans never took to him. Because, he was a good worker, man. A real good worker.
But actually, another point about that match, I believe because of that match, Buddy Landell subsequently was getting more shots and opportunities to work. And I've heard many times that it was a pretty good match. Any thoughts on Buddy and,
Yeah, he was cool, man. He wasn't nothing like his gimmick. Let's put it like this. He was nothing like the arrogant gimmick. It was funny. Buddy Landell should have been in Jerry's spot. It would have went a lot farther if Buddy Landell would have been in Jerry. Because we was going on in the match and he, helped me as far as what moves that he thought would be good next. And he seemed to be a real good dude, man. I don't know him personally, but, just from what I know from the match thing, he seemed like he was a real great guy.
There's one other thing we wanted to cover. During the 1997 Royal Rumble, you gave a Pearl River plunge to one of the guys of the nation. There was a story to that?
Well, yeah, this guy, the guy that I did it to, everybody remember, that's one of the most people remember me by, as that Pearl River plunged through the table, right through the table. His name was Joseph. He was a friend of mine. I brought him down to that match with me from Houston. He was a worker too. But he tried to play me. He owed me $150, okay? And here I was getting him booked on dark match with WWF and trying to help him out. And he bought money from me and said he'd pay me back and never paid me back and never brought it up again, like I just forgot about it, So I asked Farouk to let him get in the nation with him for that night. Because I was going to take somebody through a table. And Farouk didn't want to go through the table. So I told him I want to take him through the table specifically. So, after the match, he tried to get away, and it was real. I grabbed him, and I took him over there, pulled the steps out, and took him through the table. And I didn't mean to bust his head open like that. The monitors were still on the table, and the TV monitor, when he went down and slit the edge of it, hit him in the head and slid his head all the way back. He had like 90 stitches. But I did it because he owed me money, and he tried to play me. So I brought him in, and I played him.
All right, we're back with Ahmed. I guess you could maybe start telling us the reasons you left WWE at that point. What came about for a lot of different things?
The thing that played the biggest part of me leaving was the fact that my sister had cancer, and she was in the hospital, and she was dying of cancer. And she was a WWF fan, tooth and nails. She, besides her brother, she had her favorites. She loved Shawn Michaels. She loved Rock, and then she liked Stone Cold until she found out the truth about him. And she was just a WWE fan to her heart, man. And she was, they told us, they couldn't do anything for her. They were doing chemo and, taking through the radiation and all that for a while, and it just wasn't working. And we thought it was going to work, and it didn't work. And I was spending tons of money, trying to help her and keep her going and stuff. And then the doctors basically told us just to put her in the hospital and just let her and keep her comfortable and let her, let it happen. And that started affecting me big time in the ring. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't even tell Vince about it. I just was trying to deal with it on my own, like I've done all my life. I try to deal with my own problems. I don't really tell anybody about them. And I was trying to deal with it, and it was eating me up because I knew every time I was on TV, she was watching it, and and instead of me concentrating on the match, I was thinking about her, watching my match and this, that, and another in the hospital, and it killed me. And it got to the point where I go back and I have to recant a statement I made when I said I never refused to not do something. One time, and it was right when I quit. I was going against the South African group name.
Was it the? I know South African. Was that like with a sniper recon? Is it that with the?
Yeah, there was something like a bunch of guys.
Truth Commission.
Truth Commission.
Okay.
And we were going to have a match, and I guess one of them was going to drag me up the rail around my neck with a rope or something crazy, something very racist. Something I didn't want her to see. You know, something I just didn't want my sister to see me doing, you know, something like that, you know, before she, you know, she's passing away. And then that, among with, you know, the fact that I had got a phone call like 15 minutes before the match, and you know, they said she was, you know, doing real bad, and you know, they wanted to let me know she was doing real bad, and I couldn't, you know, that was just too much for me, you know, and I went and talked to Vince and told him I couldn't do it, basically, and you know, I was having some stuff I need to deal with. I never told him what it was, but I told him I had some things I had to go deal with, so that's when I quit. I packed, got my bag and left. We was already in Texas, and you know, I got my bag and went straight to the airport and flew to Florida to be by her side. And she died a week later. A week after all that crap went on, a week after I left WWF, she died. And then that's what really got to me, because you know, I know why I left. And some guys knew why I left, but to hear all the rumors on the internet as to why I left, that just killed me. But then I understood. I talked to somebody, I forgot who it was I called, and they explained to me the fact that if you look back in history of WWF, nobody has left the WWF, willing or unwillingly, without a gimmick being pushed as to why they left. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you leave WWF, the internet's going to be filled with rumors. You know, mine was I was too stiff, I was mean, I was this, that, and other, you know, hard to get along with. This man himself will tell you he's never had a problem with me. Jerry Briscoe, JR, they never had a problem with me. I've always did what I was told, except for that point, because after I got that phone call and said, you know, you need to get home, she's doing real bad, everything came crashing down in my mind, you know. We've been through too much as kids. I mean, through the abuse from my father and all the stuff we've been through too much. You know, so I don't want her to die like that and me not be there. But after I left, 1 week after I left, she died. 1 week after my departure from WWF.
At that show that you were at, you were at the show and you just decided to leave at that point? Like,
well, yeah, I was at the show. I was dressed and everything, and we had already went over the match, and I got the phone call like 15 minutes, you know, before they gave us the match and gimmick and stuff. And my brother called me and told me, you know, she's doing real bad. You need to get home. And I was going to go ahead and do the match and then, you know, talk to Vince about it, but it was just, you know, eating me up. And then they told me what they want to do with the Truth Commission and dragging me up a rail. Like, she's dying. I'm not going to let her. So, I mean, she didn't miss WWF. She was glued. I mean, this was even before I got in WWF, she was a fan. And, you know, that's the last thing I want her to see before she died. That's not an image I want to keep in her head.
Sure.
You know, your brother getting shit beat out of him and getting dragged up a rail by his neck. You know, that's just not what I want her to see. And then that and the fact that she was doing real bad, it just all came tumbling down.
So in the middle of the show, planning of the show, you took off at that point? Or did you
before the show began. Before it began.
Did you told somebody you were leaving?
Briscoe and Vince. I told Briscoe and I went off.
Not the reason, though?
No, I told him no reason.
You just said you got to go. You got stuff to do.
I just couldn't do it right now. I had to go. I mean, I didn't like burdening people with my problem. That was my problem. You know, that was my family. That was my problem. You know, just like a kid. I mean, I was thoroughly abused and stuff like that. And then, you know, even joining the gang and stuff like that, these were my problems. And I mean, I've been a man since I was 13. And these are problems that I deal with. And I don't tell people my problems. I don't go and tell you something for sympathy. That's just not my game.
If you want to discuss it, you can. It's up to you. Do you want to talk about any of the abuse you had as a...
That's, bro, whatever. This is open. I told you I'm open to you. Okay. Whatever you want to talk about.
What kind of abuse was it? Was it just physical abuse that you?
Well, yeah, it was just physical abuse. I mean, it was in that magazine, the WWF magazine, Beneath the Skin, that Vince Russo did, and just get hit on a few points. I remember one time we were real skinny as kids. I mean, skinny. And our father we weren't allowed to go in the refrigerator or touch any of the food unless they gave it to us. And it got to the point where one time, I'm the middle kid, but my brothers and sisters always looked up to me as being like the big kid. Even my oldest brothers and sisters, I was always having to go out and steal food for them, and we ate out of garbage cans, our neighbors' garbage cans and stuff like that. And I remember one time, one of the situations was, my father had left. I thought he was gone. And my brother and them were hungry. I mean, we were so hungry, brother. I'm telling you, you would thought we were from Ethiopia. Our ribs were showing and everything. And there was some hot dogs in the refrigerator. So when he left, I went in there and I put 2 hot dogs on. I was boiling them so I can feed my brothers and sisters. And he came back home. I didn't hear him coming home. And he came in the door and he was like, "Who in the cooking these so-and-so hot dogs?" And nobody said, and I said, "I did." And he tied me down to the bed and took the boiling water and poured it on my stomach. And it was so bad, I mean, my skin came off in a circle about that big. And my skin just started bubbling up. And I remember him taking me and putting me in the bathtub full of cold water. And when he did, my skin would start peeling off and it started floating on top of the water. It was so deep, the burn was so deep until the blood fragmentations in your stomach started bleeding. That's how deep the burn was. And I remember he wouldn't take me to the hospital or anything, and I had to sit there and deal with that pain night after night. He would just take Vaseline grease, I remember, and butter and rub it on the burn. Like that was supposed to, stop the pain or whatever. And you had to be tough. He didn't want you to cry or anything like that. I mean, I did because, it's your stomach. And then another incident was, I remember my sister had a piggy bank, and she thought somebody stole it. She couldn't find it. And so he took all the boys, took all their clothes off, and he got a extension cord, a switch, and a belt. I mean, he beat us for hours. It was so bad, I exaggerate not, our actual blood and some of our skin was on the wall. I mean, it worked. And then the only beating I ever seen that came close to it, I don't know if you've seen Passion of the Christ, but that beating that they gave Christ, that's the only beating I ever seen came close to when we got. And he was beating us. I've always been the leader. I was the middle kid, but I was the one who took the blunt of everything. And I remember I told him I didn't do it. I just wanted him to stop beating my brothers. And I told him I did it. And man, he went berserk. He was like, "You mean tell me?" I remember he hit me. My dad's a big man. He was like 300-something pounds. And he hit me. I remember going down on the floor, and he took the bunk beds and flipped them over on top of me. And he beat me, man, till I passed. And I woke up. There was skin off my head. Hit my penis. Some skin came off my penis. I mean, I was just bloody. I mean, it was so bad. My mom had to come in at night because the stench from the blood stuff was so strong. My mom had to come in at night. I remember her turning me over on the bed, and I just had to peel the sheets off my back from the blood and stuff. I mean, it was just that bad. And that's just, some things we went through. He was the thing about it, he was a very intense, violent man, And I can remember one time, I was in recess, and it started playing its role in our lives. And I think that was one of the reasons why I was so good in sports, because I always had that extra edge, and which is not a compliment, by the way. I remember one time we were playing softball, and we were in middle school, elementary school, and this guy, I'll never forget the guy's name, Ray Shanks. He was pitching, and he was mad because we were knocking, home run. They hadn't got the bat yet, and recess was almost over. And he said, "I'm going to start pitching fast now." And I said, "Well, just don't hit me with the ball." And it was my turn to bat. And he threw it, and the ball just barely touched me. I mean, barely moved a hair on my arm. But the fact I said, "Don't do it." And I run the pitcher around with the bat, man. I hit this dude in his head with that baseball bat. I mean, blood went everywhere. And it put the kid in a coma for a little while. And yeah, I can remember the coach tackling me and holding me down. And then they got me to the principal's office. And they called my dad. I'm like, "Oh my God, he's going to kill me now. I mean, I'm going to get a real bad beat now." And he was part of a motorcycle gang called the Road Knights. And you could hear them Harleys coming down the street. A mile before they get there, you hear thunder. There was like 9 of them. They came to the school. And they walked in there, and the cops were there, and the cops were so scared of the Road Knights because they didn't play. They were like the Hell Angels almost. And I remember walking there, and he was like, "What the F you do now?" And the principal was like, "Well, he hit a kid in the head with a baseball bat, and the kid's in a coma." And my dad looked at me and said, "What'd you do that for?" I said, "Because he hit me with the ball." And my dad said, "Oh, he hit you with the ball first? Good. Then you should have hit him in his so-and-so head. Let's go." And they took me out, man, and brought me ice cream. And, I mean, like I was the greatest person on earth because I hurt somebody. You know, and that's the kind of dad he was, you know.
What was your relationship with your mother?
You got to look at it like this. With my mother, she's dead now, but I still have a serious problem with her. I didn't, like, even when she died, for her, I couldn't cry. I didn't cry at her funeral. I still haven't cried today about her being dead. Because as a mother, I mean, even if you're scared, how could you allow someone to abuse your kid like that? If you loved your kids. You know, I have my 6-year-old stays with me now. I mean, I have never had to spank her once, and I couldn't if I had to. I love her just that much. You know, I can yell at her or you know, go Ahmed Johnson on her, you know, and act like I'm going to do something, be real tough. But I've never hit my daughter once, and it made it even more clear when I had my own kid for me to ask that question: how could my mother not have stopped it? Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you're scared, you can't let somebody hurt your kids like that, man. If you love them. So I mean, I got that. I'm dealing with that right now. You know, mentally with my mother. I don't. Mm-hmm. You know, I love her, but I still got a problem with that.
Where's your father today?
I'm in Florida.
Do you have a relationship with him, or
no?
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't talk at
all. Getting back to wrestling a little bit. What led you to go to? What'd you do in between leaving? Well, actually, let's move back a little. When you left WWE at that point,
mm-hmm.
You took off and you left. What happened as far as the company saying, "Are you coming back? What's going on?"
I basically I get a call from her one time, and I forgot who I talked to. But I basically told him, you know, I just got to deal with, you know, the situation with my sister dying, and because like I said, we were real close, man, and you know, I had to deal with that situation first.
Did they understand, or?
They seem to. I don't think they expect me to, you know, I have never called the WWF once since I've been gone. And I'm just now coming to grips with the fact that, you know, I really enjoyed working for them. And I might be giving them a call, you know, seeing if what Vince says. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll explain to him the situation and see what he said, why I left, because he didn't understand either. Nobody understood. Here you are getting a great push, and you take off. I mean, they didn't understand that, but I mean, it's something I wasn't even willing to talk about, but I'm cool with it now. I mean, it's to the point now where, you know, she's my sister, I love her, and she's gone. There's nothing I can do about that.
So you left at that point. Did they try to? I mean, was it basically like, "We'll call you"? I mean, I'll call you. You kind of told them if I'm coming back.
Yeah, you know, if I'm, you know, ever interested in wrestling again, I would like to keep the options open and give you guys a call. But it was to the point where I had to, you know, I had to really get things straight and come to grip with a lot of things, and that was one of them that was just hard to come to grips with.
Mm-hmm. So I guess they let you out of the you know, you had a contract at that point.
Yeah, they let me out of the contract.
So it was just dissolved at that point, and then did you try getting back to them before you signed with WCW?
No.
So
no, WCW called me. Vince Russo called me a year after I left, and I told him no, so I didn't go back for like you know, they called, and then when Stevie called me, it was a different ballgame. Because like I said, we basically grew up together, me and Stevie.
Yeah. And
we've been in a lot of fights together in the streets, a lot of street fights together. I don't know if he told you guys some of the stories.
No, not about the fight. No.
Yeah, well, we have we fought many wars in the streets together, man.
As teenagers, or.
Yeah, you can say as teenager growing up, you know, and right before the business, and we were a tag team before wrestling. It's a bit like that. We tag team on many asses in the streets. Mm-hmm. And when Stevie called me and asked me to come tag with him, and WWE, I mean, that's my boy. I couldn't say no. I mean, that's one of the closest guys in the world to me and Stevie.
So Stevie got you in there, or
Well, Vince called, like I said, a year after I left WWF, wanted me to come and told him this wasn't not something I wanted to do. Then Stevie, when he called a little while later, I was like, okay, you call in. And then we, sat down in a restaurant, me, him, and Vince Russo, and talked and got it together, how much I wanted it and all that. And I went over there.
It was a new Harlem Heat, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was out of shape so bad then, though, man. My stomach was out here. I was like 410 pounds. That was the most miserable time of my life, man. 410 pounds.
That was on TV? You weighed that much?
Yeah, I was 410 WCW. Brother, it was miserable. I mean, I sweated 24 hours a day. I couldn't walk from here to the bathroom when I was going. I mean, it was just terrible. Oh, I felt terrible.
And the run there, I guess, didn't really seem to work out for yourself. What came?
Well, no, because like I said, when they called me, the only reason I went was for Stevie. Mm-hmm. And I was, like I said, I just was so out of shape, man. I mean, my sister's death, I just gave up on life, honestly. Gave up on life. I didn't care what happened. All I did was sit at home and eat and watch TV and start working out and everything. And recently, now I'm back into it. Now I'm back down to my fighting weight and everything, but at the time, man, when I got 410 pounds, I mean, I couldn't even believe I got that heavy. I didn't think it was capable of me getting that heavy. 410 pounds is what I weighed in WCW.
And tell us about your run there as far as, you had a couple matches with,
Well, as far as the matches and stuff go, I think I kind of enjoyed it in WCW. I mean, there was a lot of bickering. I mean, going back and forth with the boy. It was just, the problem with WCW to me was there was too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Mm-hmm. Everybody wanted to be the head honcho. I mean, you had egos clashing with egos. I mean, everybody wanted to be number one. Mm-hmm. And then it seemed like what happened was the boys got control of the WCW. And that's when things started getting bad. You got all these egos going up against each other, and things started getting bad from that point on.
Anybody you just didn't like there? That guy's rubbed you the wrong way? People say Hall and Nash.
Didn't like Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
The only one I didn't like was Jarrett.
Yeah. How'd you go along with Hall, Nash?
Oh, I always got along with Scott Hall. Scott got mad at one point, because like I said, when I got WWF, let me tell you a story real quick, Scott Hall. When I got WWF, nobody, I mean, I was a young rookie, nobody would help me. That's why I know the jealousy was there. Scott Hall was the only one. I didn't ask for help or anything, but this man, every match I had was behind the curtain watching me. When I got done, I came out the ring, he would pull me to the side every time and tell me what looked good, what didn't look good, what to change, what not to change. And then I think he got mad because when he left, when he was doing that, Vince had me doing that, after before I put you in the pervert plunge, I would always go like that. Mm-hmm. And that was Scott Hall's thing when he was in WWE. He did it slow and cool. I did it real fast and intense. And from what I heard was he didn't appreciate me doing that. But it wasn't my call. It was the boss's call. So I'm going to do what I'm told. And he didn't appreciate that. And he thought I was, I guess, stealing a gimmick or something. And so he didn't like that too much, I heard.
Mm-hmm. Any, did you have any run-ins with Ric Flair or
Never.
Get along with him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have a run with anybody. Except that one thing with Mike Awesome and, when he tried to hurt Booker. Mm-hmm. Besides that, no, I didn't have a run with anybody.
What led to you leaving WCW?
I wasn't into it, man. Especially WCW, they were like the enemy. I felt like I was really dirty, man. Honestly, I did. I feel like I was dirty. I feel like I was betraying, and being a gang member and where I grew up, betraying somebody is just not something that you can live with. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I was betraying WWF and the fans. I honestly did. And I never was comfortable there. Mm. Never liked so. I told Stevie and basically I just, told him I didn't want to do it anymore. Not WCW. And plus I was so out of shape, man. It wasn't fair to the fans to even see me looking like that,
Yeah.
So it wasn't something
it's probably not an image you wanted to, at that point, to to have people say,
Right, right.
compared to what you were.
It wasn't at all, man.
What'd you do right after that? As far as you work indies during that time, or did you just pretty much?
After that, I didn't do anything for a while. And then once I lost that weight and got sure I started going back to Japan. Matter of fact, I stayed with Japan for a whole year. And went back to Japan and started working with them again. Matter of fact, I'm going back 2 months.
Who are you working with there?
They got some new organization out now that I'm going back to. They got some spinoff from Big Japan they got now.
Okay.
Some league, I'm going to go back over there and then work with them and also train. I stayed there for a while. I usually go like a month ahead of time because I like to go train over there with them. Because they teach you moves you've never seen before. They hurt, but they teach you moves you've never seen before.
Now, what about a name change for you now? Because, I mean, obviously WWE owns the Ahmed Johnson name. He can't use that, which hurts a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Big T is the name. Yeah. How do you feel about that, having to go to that name, considering that everybody knows you as Ahmed? I mean, do you think it's going to hurt you?
Well, no, because it's funny. Like, the fans, and even on the Indies and in Japan, regardless of what they call them, when they start to chant, it's, oh, man, oh, man. I mean, I don't come out as oh, man, but that's what they chant anyway, so it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't get in trouble because the fans are yelling it.
You also were part of you got a part in a movie.
No, I've done 5 movies so far.
5 movies?
Yeah.
All right, well, the one, I guess, that stands up more, so from what we heard, is the one where you played Suge Knight.
Yeah.
How did you get that? And
it's a guy I've done Walker Texas Ranger with. He was one of the directors of that one. And I did Walker for him. And he called me and said he needed a Suge Knight. And he was like, I knew about him. I said, I know quite a bit about him. And Suge was at the shoot too, him and Hammer. And, he said, I didn't talk to him, got the character together, and I betrayed him. He thought it was a great job. And he's just, Suge Knight is Suge Knight, brother. Just the, king of the gangs, basically.
now you, did you have acting lessons at that point? I mean, besides from what you did, say, in the WWE, I mean.
No, none.
And you took to it, you felt fine and everything?
Well, I've done the movie before that. I've done Point Man, Witness Execution, and Walker, and then this. And we got another one that probably got in a movie called Cons that's coming out. Cons? Yeah, me and Michael Clark Duncan, the big guy from the Green Mile.
Yeah.
We're doing a movie called Cons coming up here real soon where we play brothers.
Okay.
Which should go real well because, I mean, you see us together, you would think we were twins or think we were brothers. He's a big dude. You looking to get more into doing movies, obviously? I mean, if they come along, fine. I'm not going to go out looking for them, you know. Because, I mean, right now I'm going to try to get back in the ring. But, if they come along, they come along.
Definitely wanted to talk about racism in wrestling. A lot of African American wrestlers have said that there's underlying racism, and not even so underlying racism throughout it. Any times where you felt that you blatantly or were a victim of that, and that definitely affected your career? People said stuff about you.
Well, yeah. At one point, I mean, when I first got there, at one point I was the only black guy there, and it kind of felt weird. I never been to a sport where I was the only black guy there. And then you got to take a look at this. I mean, it took them to '97 to crown the first black champion. 1997, brother. Come on, man. How far have we come? But I don't know who's behind it or who's doing, but yeah, I mean, I know there's racism. There's racism in every sport. So everywhere you go. You go to football locker room, you'll probably feel, being a white guy, out of place, and there's racism. I mean, when people are racism, you got to remember that's a two-way street. People always make it like the white people, the racist and black. And I heard somebody say on TV that, black people can't be racist, only white people can. How does that work? But in wrestling, I don't know where it came from. I mean, even when I got there, somebody was saying, "Oh man, you watch out, for Vince and he's racist and that." But I tell people all the time, if Vince was a racist, whatever, I cannot testify to that. The man did everything he said he was going to do to me, and I'm not saying it because I was the first black champion. I'm telling you the God and the truth. The man did everything he said he was going to do. He kept his word to me, And, you know, that's all you can judge a man for, how he treats you. Now, what way he treated other black guys or treated other white guys, I don't know. I can tell you what he did for me, and he treated me like gold, man.
What would you say was your best match that you felt you had throughout your career? The one that stood
The one
out.
I enjoyed the most was me and Vader.
Okay.
And Owen, when Owen jumped off top rope, and because Vader told me before I got, it was so funny, we were sitting down, and me and Vader had been up the road together, we roomed together, and he told me, finally, walked in there, and it was Ahmed versus Vader on the card. And Vader suddenly told me, brother, he said, when we go out there, he said, get ready, because I'm going to hit you hard. And I'm like, you know, I'll hit you back hard. But I thought he was joking. Shh. He wasn't joking, brother. First clothesline shot me off. He hit me so damn hard, I went off my feet and wasn't even trying to go off my feet. And I'm like, oh, is that kind of a party? And so we basically had a shoot match, but it was enjoyable. It was really enjoyable. Now, the match that I really, really appreciated and to me was one of the best matches was me and Triple H in Kuwait. I mean, we went for almost, I think they say 35, 40 minutes, but I didn't even think I could go that long, you know, being as big as I was, 330 pounds. But we went, man, and like I said, he basically carried me, I'll be honest. But, I mean, it was a hell of a match.
What would you say was some of your a match that you just didn't enjoy, or more of a bigger match, something that was more
WWE or
WWE, something that was more built up that just didn't live up or was extremely disappointing to you?
I have to say a couple of matches with the Nation
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel right to me. Didn't go good for whatever reasons. I mean, it just didn't feel right. Whether on my part or their part, I mean, some of them just didn't feel right. People love to see them, but I mean, as far as really getting down and dirty, I didn't. A couple of them I didn't enjoy.
There was another story that came out in the indie world of wrestling. There was a story. I think it happened several years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, where you was supposed to be working for an independent promoter named Dennis Carluzzo. And what happened, according to them, was that they went to pick you up. This is their side, complained that you didn't have I think a limo or something to pick you up. something along those lines. They complained about the transportation. And you came to the show, you refused to go to the show, you stayed in your hotel room, and Carluzzo, about the no-show at his show, stated in the ring that Ahmed's here, he's arrogant, he's full of himself, he doesn't want to come to the show for the fans, and that and gave out your room number and what do you know about that story? He gave you phone number.
Let me tell you what it was. Just, I don't know I never met this jerk, but if I meet him, I'll put my foot in his ass.
He actually passed away.
Oh.
So there's. Yeah.
When I see him in heaven, I'll put my foot in his ass. Anyway, this dude, what happened was it was $1,500. I'm going to tell you what the amount and everything was. And he flew me down. On the phone, I specifically said, have my money when you pick me up. Because you guys, anybody in the business, you know how the business goes. Some people get y'all to do a match and then, we don't have. No, I don't play that. Have my money when you pick me up. So they picked me up. No envelope. No money. Took me in the hotel room, and I told the guy that dropped me off, I was like, tell him when he comes pick me up, have my money, otherwise I'm not going. I said, I'm the type of person, I said, I don't give a damn, I'll get back on the plane right now and go back home. And I guess they thought I was bluffing. The guy came pick me up, and I said, you got some money? He said, no, he didn't give me any, the envelope or anything. I said, well, I'm not going. I'm not going to the show unless she paid me first. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to come back and talk to him. And I was like, screw this. I talked to this guy 3 or 4 times about having my money up front. He didn't have it. I didn't go to the show. Matter of fact, made reservations that night to go back home. And then I heard that he gave up my room number and phone number and all that crap.
In the middle of the ring, yeah. To totally just bring down your whole character.
Yeah. So I got back on the plane and went back home. And that's the only thing that happened. I mean, You've never heard that except from that one guy that I ever not did a show, because everybody else has always had the money like they said they would. You know.
I do have one more story about that. Okay, there was another thing that came up. An autograph signing you did, 98, I think it was. I guess when you're in between WCW and you're leaving WWE, you agreed. This is according to them. You agreed to a certain amount of money. You showed up at the show. You wanted more, and what happened was, I think they had to pay you more because you were there already, and you ended up something about one of the guys that booked you or whatever. You badmouthed them on the phone, said you were gonna kill him if you saw him, and this, that, and the other. One of the promoters that had you there. Any recollection of that?
Well, I've never held anybody up for money. I mean, never came out and asked for more money. When you tell me a certain amount, and I agree to it, that's all I want. Now, if I had got there and he didn't have all the money or something, I might have gotten mad about that. But no, I've never did that, man.
Okay.
So I don't know what that is, or even where it came from. Yeah, I told him I was going to kill him.
One of the promoters, you supposedly, according to them, you called them up on the phone and threatened them and stuff like that. I don't know if it was after the fact or so, whatever, but basically that you threatened the promoter.
Okay. I don't recall.
Yeah.
I don't usually give threats. If I'm going to do something, I'm just going to do it. I mean, anybody from the streets or anybody that knows anything about fighting will tell you, first thing you do, I'm not going to announce you don't come to get you. If we're going to fight, I'm not going to tell you I can fight. I'm going to try to get the first lick in, so I'm going to keep it quiet so I can steal you. And so that's not even my style to announce to you I'm coming, I'm going to kill you. No, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I don't want you to know I'm going to do it. But no, I don't recall that at all. I've never done nothing like that.
I guess something to bring up also is steroids in wrestling. That's another thing that people have always said, is that Ahmed's obviously on steroids and this, that, and the other. And if you want to clear up anything or anything you want to say about that.
No, first of all, as far as I'm concerned, I've always been a very well-built person. I mean, always been. And as far as steroid in the business go, I'm not saying, and when I was in college, I used steroids. And as far as steroid in the business go, to sit here and say, hey, the boys aren't on them would be a straight-out lie. Yeah, it's in the business, in football and in baseball, as you will see. It's in basically any sport you get. Sports enhancement drugs are everywhere. And, you know, and to sit here and say, you know, they're not in the business, that wouldn't be telling the truth. Yeah, they're in the business. They're in WWE, they're in WCW, they're in TNA, they're in NFL, and everywhere else, you know, you look.
Have you used them in your career?
In wrestling, no, I didn't have to use them in wrestling. I was just a monster anyway. But in college, I used them in college, yeah.
Also, you were telling us a story about a daughter that you just found out you have.
Oh, yeah. I did an interview on the internet with, I can't think of the guy's name. But then he called me, after we did an interview, he called me back the next day and said there was a young lady in Canada named Amanda, you know, trying to find you. You're, you know, her dad. And first I was freaked out by it. I got no kid, you know, somebody's, you know, doing the gimmick thing on me. But then come to find out, a lady I messed with when I was in school named Tina Dunn. You know, I didn't know she was pregnant, but she got pregnant and she had a daughter named Amanda. So yeah, I have a big, beautiful daughter up in Canada.
And how old is she now?
I think I want to say 20 or 21. And she's in college up there in Canada right now. And so she contacted me on the phone and really freaked me out and emailed me some pictures and stuff. And just a very beautiful, attractive girl. Just very, and I'm so glad that she's in college. And, you know, I haven't met her yet personally, but I plan on making that trip real soon.
Would you, if the WWE called or you called them, or how much do you want to go back, or what's your thoughts?
Oh,
on
right
it?
now I'm completely ready to go back.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons I want to go back is because well, not toot my own horn. I'm not certain people who think I invented wrestling or whatever they say on their interviews. But one of the reasons I want to go back is because one thing I have never seen since I left is that intensity I had. And the fans love my intensity. That's what carried, them over and carried me over was the fact that I was so intense. You don't see it anymore. You see wrestlers trying to be intense, but you can look at them and tell it's all fake. There's nothing real about it.
Mm.
You got these guys coming out and fire shooting up behind them and trying to act like they're all, intense. But that's something that you can't buy. That's something that either the person has it or they don't have it. Like, wrestling charisma. There's certain people who are just agile and very charismatic, like Sean and Booker T and people like that. They got that talent where they're just athletic and has charisma. Then you got, like I said, the intensity factor, which is gone. There's no monsters anymore. Not saying I was a monster. I hope I wasn't. Maybe I was. I don't know. You guys know better than I do. But that intensity is not something you can buy. It's something that you have to be raised with, and either you got it or you don't. And like I said, I've had wrestlers come tell me, man, I'm telling you right now, I got scared just watching you walk to the ring because you're so intense. And if you look back at all my tapes, all the interviews, all the matches, you will never see me smile once. Not once have you ever seen me smile on TV. Mm-hmm. You see me smile now. I'm at peace with myself, but the intensity is still in there.
Do you think you can, if you went back, that you could perform at the level that you were at?
Well, yeah, I've been doing some indie stuff with Stevie Ray. He got his own federation going on in Houston, doing stuff with him, and man, it's weird. But we was out, with my friend at the E-Max played for the Texans, and we were out training with him. And it's funny, my vertical was higher than it was when I played with Dallas Cowboys. My 40 times even faster now. Then Dallas Cowboys run like a 5.3. Now I can hit 5 flat, almost 4.9. And my bench press is up by almost 60 pounds than it was back in the day. I don't get it.
Do you mind telling how old you are, or
how old you think I am?
Well, from what I would say about mid-30s.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right, and that's what I'm saying. I'm in my mid-30s.
So you're still young. You're still, yeah.
Only in age.
To make a comeback, yeah.
Only in age. But yeah, my that's what's funny about it. I'm here in my mid-30s, and I'm faster and can jump higher and stronger than I was when I was in my teens and 20s. And I don't quite understand that. I thought that's what, your good days. So that's the way God made it, so that's the way it is.
Are you gonna try to contact the WWE, or you have people? You're friends with Booker.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to do is, me and Booker aren't close to me and Stevie.
Okay.
By no stretch of imaginations. What I'm going to try to do is, I plan on contacting Vince real soon and just first of all apologize, and for me, even when they're not explaining the situation to him. Mm-hmm. But he's the type of person he would understand, because he knew Vince really took time out to get to know Tony Norris, not Ahmed Johnson. He really, I can remember some shows where he's walking down the hallway and he called me over and we sit on the stairs and just talked, and I think he would understand the fact that my problems are my problems, and I'll deal with them, and I don't, want to tell everybody and, make a big fuss over somebody. That's my problem. My sister's death, I see that was my situation to handle. Mm-hmm. And, I wouldn't have done it any other way. I'm not sorry I left the way I did. I don't regret leaving the way I did, because like I said, she stayed alive one more week after I left. And I was glad I got to spend that last week with her. So I wouldn't change a thing. I owe Vince an apology. I owe the fans an apology for where I left, but I wouldn't change it. I would do it again.
There's one guy in the WWE roster that a lot of people compare to you. Compare to you as far as the size, the look, and Bobby Lashley. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I've seen him wrestle like once or twice. I
don't know if he's got the intensity of you.
That's one. No,
but the look, the big muscles.
Right.
Do you think there's room I mean, if he has, I mean, he's kind of being pushed, kind of like you were. Mm-hmm. Very similar. I don't, you know.
Yeah, I think it is because, like you said, it's two totally different styles. I mean, he doesn't have that intensity. I mean, I'm the type of person, if I get in the ring, which I think I can make you bring up your intensity level. But he doesn't have that intensity, and I don't know the kid. I only watched him wrestle twice. But some of the guys I talked to yesterday were like, some of the guys from WWF, matter of fact, that worked there, they were here yesterday, and we sat and talked. And they were like, it's funny to hear him talk. It's like his voice is like a little mouse or something. I've never heard him talk, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. But they say he sounds like Mike Tyson or something. I've never heard him talk, but I've watched him wrestle twice against Booker. And the intensity's not there, so I don't think our styles would clash at all. Our looks would, but our styles wouldn't. Mm-hmm.
What about, I guess you don't feel that TNA would be an option because of Jarrett, right? So
yeah, I don't think Jarrett would do that. I mean, I don't think Jarrett would bring me to TNA.
If he stepped aside or he lost power or left, you would think about going there?
Maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Because you don't feel it's the big time maybe as much? You want to make your...
Well, no, it's not that. Cause, I'm doing indies now. You know, I don't mind doing it for not so big.
But on a
crowd.
grand scale, you want to,
Well, it's just I don't know if I like all the talent down there. Mm-hmm. Their talent is, to me, more of a high-flying show, you know, which I love doing too. But, I mean, I got a problem with every match to me, it's the same. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody doing high-flying stuff. And, I mean, you got to mix some variety up in there, man.
Mm-hmm. What would be the one guy you would say you just flat out you've dealt with in the business, that one guy you would say you dislike the most, that just totally turned you off the most that you've ever dealt with?
Steve Austin.
Steve Austin.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Now, what about the opposite of that? What person that you've worked with flat out impressed you, completely professional, loved working with, or if you didn't get to work with, would have loved to work with? Somebody who just really impressed you as a wrestler and a professional.
Undertaker. Undertaker's one of the most impressed with. I mean, guys, the boy's been in business forever. He's a god in the business, and he's outside of that, he's one of the coolest dudes you're ever gonna meet. Mm. I mean, he's one of the coolest guys you're ever gonna meet in life. Just Taker.
Well, I think while you were in the WWE, I think during the beginning of your career, I think you were there a little bit with Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
A lot of people have stories about him. What did you see? Any weird behavior by him? Or?
No, he's always spoke to me, always treated me good. I mean, once again, it's like the stuff you hear about Vince McMahon. I mean, I can't sit and lie to you and say that, you know, they've ever done anything wrong. I mean, I'm not saying they're angels. I'm sure, you know, they've had their run-ins with people, but like I said, I can judge you for the way you treat me. And Warrior always treated me good. I mean, he was always cool with me, talked to me. Matter of fact, me, him, and his wife sat in the locker room and just, you know, he kind of gave me to run down a few things about, you know, him, you know, not liking Vince and stuff like that. But once again, I couldn't side with him there either because Vince always treated me good. Mm-hmm. He's kept every word he has ever, for everything he's ever promised me. And like I said, he even paid me more money than he said he was going to pay me. So, I mean, he's kept his word with me. So, I mean, Vince is a good man in my book, and Warrior's a good man in my book. He's always treated me good. So, I mean, he was isolated, don't get me wrong. I mean, he had to have his own dressing room and all that, you know, but that's as much as you created.
A couple names we're just going to throw out there that give you thoughts on Bret Hart.
I like Bret. I mean, we never really conversated. I don't know him as far as, say, personally, but I mean, as far as us in passing, good guy.
Vince Russo.
I liked Vince Russo. Enjoyed him big time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought he was great. I thought he was one of the, if not the best, one of the best angle makers in the world in the history of wrestling. I couldn't believe when he left the WWF. I mean, man, he was. I mean, he had that show rocking and rolling.
Did you work at all with Eric Bischoff, or was he not there?
Yeah, he was there when I was there.
Okay.
But he, like I said, when I got there, Eric was just coming back, and the boys had control. So
Yeah.
I really never got to see his work.
I guess we're pretty much going to head to the end here. If you have anything you want to say to your fans that may not may think things about you that maybe you want to clear up in the next 5 minutes, anything you want to say to your fans in closing?
Well, you know, only thing I would say, man, like I said, I'm not one for begging or anything than that. Believe what you want to believe. I mean, everybody got their own mind, everybody got their own opinions, and I'm not here to persuade you one way or the other. And if you want to believe the internet rumors, then believe them. I mean, also on the internet it says that I was killed. On one site said I was killed in a car accident. Another site said I was killed in a shootout. And another site said that, like today, I'm in hospital on dialysis. So, believe what you want to believe. If you want to believe that I rose from the dead, here I am. You know, if you want to believe all the crap they say about me on the internet, believe it. I mean, I think that, you know, we talked on the phone and you got to meet me and you got your opinions, you know, and I'm sure you don't believe in that crap on the internet now.
And I do want to say, just because of the promoters like Carluzzo, who has passed away now, and the other one with the other autograph signing, when we contacted you for this shoot and the autograph signing and stuff, you've been nothing but professional and lived up to everything that we asked, and I think we've done the same for you. So I just want to say that to anybody who sees this, who may be nervous about booking you on anything.
Right, the thing about it is, brother, I'm going to treat you the way you treat me. You bullshit me, I'm going to bullshit you back. Or if I think you're bullshit, first of all, I'm not going to come down and even operate or associate with you. But I mean, if you keep your word with me, I'll keep my word with you. We come to an agreement like we did, come to agreement on the phone. Hey, that's the agreement we came to. You held your end bargain up, and I told you, like I told you yesterday, I'm standing in my room. You invite me down 2 or 3 times to come downstairs. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that because you paid me to be here, and you're paying me for, certain things. And so I'm going to stay up here until you tell me,
sure,
it's cool to come down.
And you're a class act the whole time for it, so we appreciate that.
But that's just it to the fans. I mean, I love my fans, and for the ones out there that want to believe the crazy shit on the internet, if that's what you wish to believe, then so be it.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you.